headline at the top of the bulletin, where India continues the offensive against Pakistan, this time on the diplomatic stage against the terror state in wake of Operation Sindoor. India will now submit evidence before the United Nations Security Council against the TRF, an offshoot of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, in connection to the Pahalgam terror attack. Government sources say an Indian technical team is currently in New York. They are interacting today with the monitoring team of the Sanctions Committee and other partner countries at the United Nations Security Council. That is the big piece of news that's coming in when it comes to India's diplomatic offensive against the terror state, against Pakistan, where now what we are learning is that the United Nations Security Council will be moved by the Indian government as it gives evidence against the TRF and the Lashkar-e-Taiba when it comes to the Pahalgam terror attack. So this is another offensive against Pakistan in the wake of Operation Sindoor, where India crippled the entire terror infrastructure inside Pakistan and even gave a decisive blow to the Pakistani military infrastructure, which aided the entire terror state. I'm joined by my colleague Siddhant Mishra on the broadcast to get more details on India's offensive at the United Nations. Siddhant, over to you.
That's right, Ayushman. In fact, to the best of our understanding, then the technical team is already in New York, and this team is going to brief UNSC 126 Sanctions Committee. Perhaps will be briefing them on a TRF link with Lashkar-e-Taiba, and they might also give evidence of TRF's involvement in Pahalgam attack. In fact, Ayushman, before this, twice India has given evidence to United Nations Sanctions Committee about how TRF is doing proxy warfare on behalf of Lashkar-e-Taiba in Jammu and Kashmir. And in fact, yesterday at a press briefing and before this, Foreign Secretary himself, spoke about TRF's involvement in Pahalgam terror attack and how India had provided evidence to 1267 Sanctions Committee of the United Nations in the past as well. Now, what we are getting from sources is, and sources tell us that an Indian technical team is in New York. They are interacting today with the monitoring team of the 1267 Sanctions Committee and other partner countries in the United Nations. They will also be meeting with the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism and Counterterrorism Committee Executive Directorate. So this is perhaps the first move of India against TRF after Pahalgam terror attack. In fact, this was announced by spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal yesterday in a press briefing, and today we are getting to know the technical team is already in New York.
Right, and Siddhant, at the same time, a lot of diplomatic parley is also underway currently in New York to get all the partners on one side, because we've seen several nations also, not just at the United Nations Security Council, but even in the General Assembly, trying to take a very balanced approach, leaning towards the Pakistani narrative surrounding the Pahalgam terror attack.
But yes, definitely it is going to be a fight for India, Ayushman, given Pakistan is a non-permanent member of United Nations Security Council. And in fact, if you remember on 25th April's statement, if we go by that, despite not being the non-permanent member, Ayushman, India got the statement which India wanted. Perhaps, on the context of that particular statement only, Operation Sindoor was planned and executed. In fact, that was said by a Foreign Secretary. So, despite not being the part, speaking to friends and partner countries like France, like United States, like Russia, perhaps last time around also India did manage to pull off the statement which India was looking for to plan a strike on Pakistan. And this time around also, Indian side is very confident, pretty confident, that despite not being the non-permanent member also, they are definitely going to build pressure on Pakistan, not just at UNSC, but perhaps at other forums as well, international forums as well. And in fact, from day one, there has been support pouring in, as far as India's fight against terrorism is concerned. And one thing very important, Ayushman, which spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal highlighted yesterday, and I would again like to reiterate for our viewers, that people are talking about India and Pakistan again getting hyphenated. To which he said that it is not both countries have got hyphenated. It is more about how Pakistan has been exposed by India again, how the terror camps have been struck by the Indian side, and how the army generals of Pakistan are giving state funeral to to the terrorists. And now, in fact, the reports tell us that Shehbaz Sharif has announced 14 crore compensation to Maulana Masood Azhar's family because as per the reports, 14 of his family members have been killed in Indian strikes. So, all these things have started coming out before the word. The statement of Khwaja Ishaq Dar in the House that we got TRF's name removed from the UNSC statement, that will also go against them. Then, what Khwaja Asif has been saying that, we have been doing dirty work. So, Pakistan stands exposed. And there is a lot of evidence against Pakistan's involvement with the terror groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. In fact, how Muridke and Bahawalpur, these two areas, even if you go by the history also, that how these markaz were set up by Mujahids and later ISI floated groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed to do proxy warfare against India. So India is going to give all the proof evidence to the Sanctions Committee. In the past also, Ayushman, there were indeed a lot of troubles which India had to face in getting these terror groups sanctioned. But perhaps finally India got it done. So this time around also India is confident that it could be a long journey or perhaps there would be troubles in the way. But definitely they are going to get TRF sanctions using all their diplomatic might.
Right. So, and could that entire diplomatic might also shift in India's favor in the wake of the Pahalgam attack, and given the support that India has been receiving in the wake of Operation Sindoor?
Network 18 decimates Times Internet with over 6 times more unique users on social media. Network 18, the undisputed leader of news networks, way ahead of the times.